and welcome to the ninth episode of the RunAway show. It's with great pleasure that I introduce my next guest, Ankita Kovar. Like I mentioned in my post earlier today, she is probably better known as Milind Soman's wife, but she has an identity of her own which goes way beyond that. And I'm very excited to be talking to her today. Welcome, Ankita.
Thank you, Gauri, for having me on your show.
Do you hear me loud and clear? And am I getting through clearly when I'm talking to you?
I do. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So I think
yes,
where in the world are you joining us from, Ankita?
I'm in Darjeeling.
I said, where in the world?
I'm running Darjeeling Marathon tomorrow.
Wow, fantastic. Fantastic. Are you doing the full marathon there tomorrow?
Right.
Okay, I want to first know about, because...
So there's only half marathon and 10 kilometers.
That's fantastic. So I remember meeting you the first time in Berlin, when you'd come to cheer Milind, and you were a spectator at the marathon at that time, and you were not that much into running, right? So I first want to know a little bit about your running journey, because this is something new in your life, right? So tell me, how did you get into running?
Gauri, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah, okay, great. Can you please repeat your question? I'm so sorry, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, so I was just saying that I met you for the first time when you were in Berlin, and you had come as a spectator to cheer Milind when he was running the Berlin Marathon. And this was a few years ago. And you were not a runner at that point in time. I remember we were both cheerleading. And now you're running races. You've run, quite a few, and we're going to be talking about some of the races that you've run. But I want to just know about your running journey. How did you get into running?
How did I get into running? That had everything to do with my sister's pregnancy. So she had called me. I mean, of course, Milind was always inspiring. I would see his post before I would even get up. He'd be done with 20 kilometers, 25 kilometers of run. And I'd be like, why? Flashed in front of me. And I just didn't know what kind of an aunt am I going to be. So I had a lot of bad habits at that time, to be honest, and a very unhealthy lifestyle. So I was like, I'm going to be a good aunt and I'm going to set good examples. So I didn't know how to react to her without even saying congratulations or anything. I just hung up on her and I went for a walk. Actually, I ran for the first time. And it was so liberating. It was so amazing. And so I came back and clear-headed, congratulated her, and I felt so good. So I took up running.
Wow, is that it's that simple, that it was just like one big event that was happening in your life that just triggered that?
Right.
But running, that kind of running, that kind of going out for a walk and kind of just running, and then there's the kind of running that you've been doing. There's a huge difference in that. There's a lot of work and effort and training and things like that goes into it. So from the time that you actually started to run to actually taking part in a marathon, tell me a little bit about that journey.
So I remember I started doing just 5 kilometers, 7 kilometers, and I had a crazy schedule. When I was working in an airline, you know how it goes. You don't have specific hours. You just fly in and out, and you have to work your schedule around everything. So at times, I would just go for a walk in the night or early morning run or whatever. Actually, my schedule allowed me to. But I remember feeling so good, and there was this Pinkathon happening in Pune, and I said, "Oh, you know what? I want to participate." And Milind was very, of course, for it, and he's like, "Oh, you must." go for a 10 kilometers run. And I'm like, 10 kilometers is a bit too much for me. And he said, no, you can do it. You can do it. So I went for it, and I did it in some 62 minutes or something. And that was a good timing at the time, I think. And I was like, yay, I think I can do more. So that started like that. I started doing regular 10 kilometers and a regular 12 kilometers, and I kept at it. And I remember it was in Vizag. It was another Pinkathon in Vizag. So I was with Milind. So I had no plans to run any long distance or anything. Apparently, Milind said that, we don't have many 21 kilometers. Why don't you go and participate? And I was like, I'm not ready for a 21 kilometers. It's a half marathon. Like, what do you think? Everybody can just get up and go for it. And he's like, I believe in you. I think you can do it. So I said, okay, you know what? Let me just give it a try. And I have always been this person, who always likes to try out things before saying no to it. So I said, okay, let me just give it a try. And I remember coming third.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, my first 21 kilometers and finishing a podium was, although it was not very fast, I think I was 2 hours and 20 minutes or something. But, my first 21 kilometers and being around that timing also, it was, I think, quite good for me to realize my capacity, like what actually I can do. And then kind of encouraged me. It encouraged me to do more.
Yeah, and then you found yourself at the start line of the Athens Marathon, the full marathon from there.
Yes.
That's like another level. How long was that transition from, kind of like just doing your first Pinkathon run, 10K to half to Athens?
I would say 2 years. I took up running properly around 2016. Late, I think about November or something. And November it was Pune Pinkathon, yeah. And then 2018, November, I was running my first full marathon. You know that, you know it better. But 21 kilometers to 42 kilometers, probably a year. But within that period, I had actually participated in city to city runs, which actually, I paced people, and paces, and somebody would be running and I would just join them, probably for 40 kilometers or 42 kilometers, but throughout the day, with breaks and stuff like that. So I knew that I could do it, but I needed that push. So I got it in Athens, and I said, okay, this is an opportunity, and I don't want to miss it. And Milind, we only had 6 days, and Milind trained me in 6 days to run a full marathon, from half marathon to full marathon directly.
I mean, that's insane. It's just insane. And, Milind was on this show some weeks ago, and
Right.
he made a passing remark about how difficult the Athens Marathon is. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your first marathon experience? Tell us about, what the whole experience was like.
Right. So Milind's birthday happens to be on 4th of November. So we decided to go to Athens just to celebrate his birthday. Had no idea about the marathon, in fact. And so as soon as we landed, and I remember Shibani, my friend Shibani, calling me and saying, "Hey, why don't you do the marathon?" And I'm like, "What? When is it?" So I think it was on 11th or 12th, right? So we were supposed to come back on 10th. We were supposed to come back on the 10th. So we call you because you're like, you were that angel. So we were like hoping for Gauri to say yes, that she can, somehow give us the entry to the marathon. And then you said yes. You said, I will do something and get you in. So we got in. So we decided to cancel our tickets and then book new ones. And then I said, you know what? I have done all of this, but do you think I'll be able to do it, to Milind? And Milind's like, yeah, of course you'll be able to do it. So although I think, he knew that I needed training. So he said, but I will give you a training like routine, you'll have to follow it. You cannot argue with me. You cannot tell me that, oh, this is too much for me and this is this, you have to follow it. I said, okay, because you know how it is. Wives are kind of difficult. So, So I said, okay, I will listen to you. And then I remember going to Mykonos because we already had that planned. Uh, so we went to Mykonos, and if anybody has been to Mykonos, they know how windy it is, how crazy inclines are there. It's all because it's all
Yeah.
hills, around there. So
Hilly.
I
Yeah.
remember Milind, yeah, very, very hilly. And the winds are crazy windy, it can like literally, and for a person like me, I'm quite petite. So I really feel like, the wind is just blowing me off the edge. So I had no running attire, no nothing. I had to shop there and to be prepared for a marathon. And then, I would just tie the headgear because I had no headgear and I would get a terrible headache after a run. So I would just tie the t-shirt like a headgear because there were no sports shops around Mykonos. So we would just run 17 kilometers, 18 kilometers. They say you should always rest before the week of marathon, right? Right before
Yeah.
the marathon week. So I did not. I was training for the marathon. And, Milind would see what I was eating, that I would eat proper fruits, proper food, good nutrition. And then Athens Marathon, if anybody has done it, they know that it is quite hilly. You run from Marathon to Athens itself, and from very first kilometer to the 33rd kilometer, it's just gradual but inclines. You just go up and you don't realize. It's only when you reach up to like 16, 17 kilometers, you look back and you realize, oh, you've come quite up, and you realize why your energy has drained out. And I remember Milind running at my pace for 42 kilometers. And it's very difficult for a runner to run at a different pace. It's very difficult, that. And cheering me up throughout, just saying, "Yay, Ankita, go!" And and I could do it because of the hill runs in Mykonos, which I hated, of course. I actually said, I shouldn't have signed up for this. You're really bullying me. This is bad. And but I was thanking him all the way. And as soon as we hit, I remember 39th kilometer, I knew that I was going to finish. It was quite hard, of course, for a first time runner, first time marathoner to go and decide to do it in Athens, that to one
Mhm.
of the most difficult routes. And and so less training, like little training. And then I remember just crying, from 39th kilometer, my tears were just rolling down and knowing that I'm the first person in my family to complete a full marathon. I'm doing something extraordinary for myself. I'm setting different targets, I'm setting different goals, knowing that my entire life has changed in front of my eyes. And it's with a lot of effort and discipline and, actually I would say a lot of passion, and that kind of takes a toll on you, and you really realize the all the emotions and feelings, and then just
Yeah.
you cry. So I remember
Yeah.
crying so much at the finish line. I was not being able to speak, and I'm just looking at Milan. I'm saying, "Thank you, thank you." I don't think I can ever thank you enough for this.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
fantastic feeling, right? And of
Mm,
course,
yeah.
in Athens, which is where the original marathon started, it's so kind of symbolic, right? To actually run
Yeah.
a first marathon there. And I remember when
Yes.
you called me, I was actually I was on my way to New York because that's around the time that New York Marathon
New York
happens.
Marathon.
And
Yeah.
I remember coordinating this from the airport, and I was transiting through London airport, and I was trying to get your entries done. It was crazy, but yeah, I mean, I hear you when you say that your first marathon. Actually, I think honestly, I think I probably cry at the finish line of most marathons, not just the first one. The first one, of course, is spectacular. It's special. I remember crying at the
Yes.
first half marathon finish line. But yeah, I think we just kind of like are overcome with emotion, and there's just
Yes,
so
of
much that's
course.
going on emotionally, uh,
Yes.
right? When you're kind of just um, going through this experience. So yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. And there was one other thing that I was actually teasing Milind about, because I know that you were there in Chicago, I think a little while later, maybe about a year or so later. And I was
Right.
teasing him, saying, Milind, that Ankita beat you because I think you were faster than him in Chicago, right?
I was. But because I was training kind of throughout the year, I was doing a stadium run for 12 hours. And because of that, I was training quite a bit. And I didn't specifically train for Chicago Marathon, but it was quite good. The timing was good for me. I finished my first full marathon, as you know. It was 5 hours and 32 minutes or something like that. And the next one, I finished in 5 hours and 2 minutes. That was Chicago.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
yeah, so that was a huge leap, And then I did the Mumbai Marathon this time. It was 4 hours and 45 minutes. So I
Fantastic.
think it's really a lot of determination, and I think discipline has gone into it to actually, get me from where I was, like really unhealthy, to where I am today.
Yeah, I mean, tell me a little bit about,
And I'm
when you say that, because I think I've read about this, about, you leading the typical millennial life with, all kinds of partying and stuff like that. There's also
millennial stuff.
this, yeah, millennial stuff. Well, I shouldn't say that too much. I have two millennials in my house. Uh, so yeah, but kind of, there's also this interest that you have in, you work towards mental health. You give your time to that. You're an advocate of mental health, and you also sort of battled with anxiety and depression. Tell us a little bit about, that experience first.
Right.
And then I also want to tell you, I also want to hear about, has there actually been a connection with, running and all of these feelings? Because when somebody looks at your Instagram post,
Yeah,
it's
right.
impossible to believe. There's so much of joy, happiness. Your posts are so lovely. They're so, like,
Positive.
they brighten up anybody's day, right? And so if somebody
Thank you.
actually
Thank
says
you.
that, like, looks at that and,
Yeah,
hears that you actually battle anxiety and depression, it's
right,
unbelievable, right? So tell
right,
us a little bit about that journey.
right. So I would say my childhood wasn't the happiest of a childhood. It had its ups and downs. Of course, I came in terms with it quite late, but every teenager needs to go through all of that, I think, at some level. So I don't really think of it much. But then my brother passed away, and back to back, I lost my then boyfriend as well. So and it was all like sudden, for me to gather so much at once. And I think I lost control a little bit at the time. And I just went through, I didn't know how to talk to anybody, because I have always been this, I look like an extrovert, but I have always been an introvert all my life. So I always like to keep to myself, especially when it comes to things, those are like really internal. I don't really share a lot with people. And now I'm starting to, because I think, bottling things up is. I remember going through all of this all by myself, not knowing how to deal with it, that, I should open up to somebody, or somebody coming up to me and telling me what to do. Nobody was there. So it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just that I didn't know how to ask for help. And going through all of that, and figuring out my career. And in fact, for a better part of our relationship, in fact, Milind had to also go through all of my ups and downs. I would just we had a lot of ups and downs in the beginning. I because I was still coming in terms with the idea that, I am okay to date somebody else. So all of that together, kind of when I started running, I saw a really positive change in myself, more confidence to deal with my daily struggles, I would say, mental, right? So because you barely have time as a flight attendant, especially when you're working,
Yeah.
you have you have a crazy schedule, because
Yeah.
your sleep pattern matters a lot. Your life habits matter a lot. What goes in mentally and spiritually is a lot about your physical being. And when you don't realize it, you're still trying to figure out things and not understanding the capacity of what a good healthy lifestyle can do to you. So when I started my journey as a runner, I started seeing these tiny little positive changes in myself. I'd be more happy, as in happy as in, I would like to greet people and meet people. I would, otherwise, I always used to just go for my flight, come back, and just be there by myself. I wouldn't even call anybody or call any of my friends. I was always like a loner. So then slowly, I got out of all of that. I learned how to deal with it, read a lot about it. Didn't really look for help, but I realized that I can help myself by knowing more about it, and of course, reading up a lot helped. And then gradually, I got into it, more running, more exercises, any sort of, in fact, more outdoor activities. It just made me a better, livelier person, I guess. And then I realized that, people don't get this because they're just sitting, they're doing their 9 to 5 jobs or whatever schedule they're going with. And then they come home, they seek comfort in their comfort food, maybe watching something on the TV or talking, barely talking to their families, to be honest. And being on their phones, they're having like multiple things, going on at times because you have so many things to keep up with online nowadays,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
TV, in fact. So you don't give yourself the time to realize what you actually want in your life. You don't give yourself the time to understand that maybe you need a change. Maybe you can do more. Maybe there's more to life than just this. And we just keep telling ourselves these things that, everything's fine. This is how my life is. We crib about it. We forget about it. We get busy. Again, we crib about it. But we don't take the first step to change the very thing that we want
True.
changed.
Yeah.
And it goes on until, you're diagnosed with something really bad, something that you cannot get back from. So I have a living example of that. My father is a CKD patient. So he was, in fact, he's a diabetic. So he has had diabetes for last 17 years, and it's because of his bad lifestyle, I would say. Like, he didn't really care for it at that time, and now he's really, I can see the problems that he's facing. And it only, your life choices doesn't only, it don't matter to you
Right.
only.
Yeah.
It kind of affects everyone around you. You don't really realize that at that time, but everything that you're doing, every step that you're taking, every decision that you're making, it's leading you to a different life every single step. It's taking you either this way or that way, but it's up to you whether you want to go this way or that way. You have to choose. But for that, you need to realize what you want from your life. And for that, you need to give yourself that time, every day, at least 15 minutes, if not more, just for yourself, talk to yourself, go out, do anything that you like, or just stay in and do something that you like and just be by yourself. So I think all of those things kind of helped me. And that's why I want people to, that's why I talk about it a lot, positive things. I don't like to see anything negative on my timeline. I don't follow anybody who's kind of into negative mindset. I follow everything positive. Yes, you can say, oh yeah, not everything is rainbows and butterflies, but it is if you look at it that in from that side. Everything has a positive side. Everything has a positive outcome. Only if you look at it from that positive perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic what you're saying. It's so true, Ankita. And I can just about imagine what a long journey it might have been for you to actually, kind of talk
Yes.
about it in this way, right? It takes so much to
Right.
kind of pull yourself out of it. And I think the benefits of running with mental health have already been established. It's a
Yes.
fact, and we know that
Yes.
there are chemicals that are secreted that make you feel good. They are happy hormone
Yes.
releasing.
Yes.
And also, I think something that I really agree with that you mentioned is this giving yourself that time and kind of like keeping yourself as is that little priority, be it for 15 minutes, be it for half an hour, be it for whatever period of time, but kind of
Yes.
like having the time so that you have the time to connect with your own self, right? So yeah, I
Yes.
mean
Absolutely.
it's so, I mean, it's just amazing. I just see you and I see this petite, small built young person, and I just see like so much of wisdom.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's no wonder the age is not an issue between Milind and you. I can see that.
I think I'm already there mentally.
Well, I don't know if I would agree with that, but yeah. So it's kind of been like
Yeah.
quite a journey, and I feel like honestly, I feel like these are the kind of journeys that make stories, right? Stories are made of life journeys which are like this.
Right.
So I think you've just celebrated your third anniversary with Milind.
Marriage anniversary.
Yes,
We go. No,
yes.
we just celebrated our second marriage
Second
anniversary.
one, yeah, right. Okay, okay. I
There are
can't
too many
resist
of
but
those
ask
anniversaries.
you. Yeah, I mean, Milind has been a lot in the news since his birthday, and I was jokingly, I've been taking all the credit for it. You know that, right? Because when he was on my show, I have a rapid fire, which I'm also going to put you through. But in my rapid fire with him, my last question to him was actually, tough shoes, no clothes, or barefoot and clothes on. And he said, no clothes, no shoes. And next thing you know, you know, he's had
He's there.
he's there exactly. And I shared this with you on WhatsApp some time ago, where I kind of like saw that there was a whole lot of media interest that was actually generated from that experience of the post that he actually put up. And
Right.
this I think is sort of inevitable, right? You are kind of in the spotlight the whole time, right? And trying
Right.
to keep your sanity. And you actually don't come from a background where you probably have not been exposed to this level of media interest and things like that. So how do you cope with that?
To be honest, at first, of course, it bothered me. Things that people would say, and people can be really judgmental, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing is that, I remember when this is really funny though. So I remember going to Millen's brand opening. He was launching this brand called Devi, right? So we
Yeah.
went for Delhi Fashion Week. I think we went together, and somebody snapped us, and they wrote that Milind Soman with his girlfriend at SS18, right? That is Spring Summer Collection 18. So next thing I know, I was in Norway with Milind, vacationing his birthday, and then we knew that he's trending for what? Because apparently somebody picked it up and said that I was 18, and then somebody went on my profile and checked that, oh, we've been dating for 4 years. That means he was dating me since I was 14. And it went on and on and on. And at first, of course, I was very angry. And I was like, no, how can people be so stupid and so judgmental and not even know the real thing? And they can just go on and on about
Yeah.
it. And then Milind said, why should it matter to you? You know the truth. So why should it matter to you what everybody else has to say? So of course, at first I was like, yeah, right, this is not going to work. I mean, I don't think this is how I am going to look at it. But slowly, of course, it took me some time. And also, my parents were like crazy. They were like, what is happening? So I had to come in terms with all of that, talking to my parents and telling them, cool down, it's okay, everything is fine. You know the truth, I know the truth. So yeah, everybody's okay. And then I think slowly I started realizing that it doesn't matter what anybody else has to say about you, as long as you know that what you're doing is right, and you're truthful to yourself, right?
Yeah.
I love a person. It doesn't matter where he comes from, where he's been, what he's done or doing. It's just the person that I love, and I'm with him. So why should it matter to me what anybody else has to say about it? So like that, so after that, I think anybody else, whatever they said, it never really mattered to me, because first thing, they probably don't know the truth. Half
Yeah.
the things, people, and the thing is that whenever somebody writes something, right, any article, you will always see they just put like half of it, so that it's like what do you call it? Clickbait,
Sensational.
so
Yeah.
that clickbait, yeah, so that you just like click on it to read the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's how it is, and people only read that, and they will create a whole different thing about it, and they'll just go on and on. And second thing is that first of all, they don't have the time to read the whole thing, and they don't know the truth. Second thing is that they don't know me. If they knew me as a person, if they had the courage to come up to me and say those things, I would listen to them. I would say, okay, fine, you have a point. But since you don't know me, you don't know anything about me, and you have basically no point. So I don't, I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinions, but it doesn't mean that it should matter to me. You can think whatever you want. It's not going to change my life. It's not going to change your life. So for that 2 seconds, you can say whatever you want. It'll go away. So will you? That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, I think there's, Milind has actually been in the public eye for so many years,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
He has. I'm sure you deal also with a lot of his, female fan
Fans.
following,
Right.
and and I think it's just kind of inevitable. When I'd gone to Israel, when Milind had run the
Yeah.
Jerusalem marathon, I remember
Right.
the very next day, they were like, I don't think we had even taken our flight back from Jerusalem to India. But, there were articles about Milind having run that race and about the speech that he gave and everything. It's just, so I think it's kind of like, it's impossible to kind of,
Right.
and unfortunately, this is media. It's not just
Have
in,
a
in
personal
India.
life.
Yeah, it's just, it's like that everywhere, even in other countries, people are kind of like crazy about this kind of thing. But yeah, I can't imagine it being hard, but I don't see any other way of dealing with it, right, other than just being thick skin kind of.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you have to just go head on. And I really didn't have any trouble after that first, whatever, the craziness that happened. And I
Yeah.
have never had any problems, dealing with it. And I think, especially when it comes to his fans, when they're saying something nice about him, and I always like it. I mean, when they say, oh, your husband's so sexy, I'm so sorry, but he's so sexy. And I say, oh, wow, that's amazing that you find him sexy. I mean, why shouldn't you? He is.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's how it's been. So I would just say that I kind of have gotten used to it now, and I don't really care for it much. People, if they have to say good things about you, they will say. If they have to say bad things about you, they will say.
Yeah,
Everybody
exactly.
has
You
their
got to live
opinion.
your life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Of
You need
course,
to.
you
You
cannot
got to live your life. Yeah, yeah. So
absolutely.
tell
So
me,
I would talk about
Ankita.
the
Yeah, sorry. Please go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, like anything that you do, people will always criticize you. So you
Yeah.
just have to be yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. There will be an opinion irrespective, right? Whether it's good or it's bad, there will be an opinion.
Absolutely.
So it probably makes most sense to just do your own thing, right? So
Right.
Ankita, like you've actually like given up your flying career now, and
Right. Right.
I've seen that you kind of have some involvement with Pinkathon. To what extent are you involved with Pinkathon? Across India.
So Pinkathon, I'm just involved as an ambassador. Of course, you know how I talk about health and mental health, and I'm just there as an ambassador. And I don't see myself getting involved in anything business-like because that's not my thing. So health is something I'm really, really interested in. So something to so right now, in fact, this whole COVID situation, I was working on something on nutrition, and there's another project that I'm working on, and something to do with writing, and there are other things that's cooking that is probably in Alibag. So yeah, a lot of things are underway. In fact, Milind had told me, when I decided to resign. So he said, you have worked so hard for it, right? So I remember getting 4 promotions in 5 years. So he said, you really worked hard for it, your position and your career. So why don't you keep it? Like, it's okay if you want to live here and I can live in Mumbai, and if you get transferred, it's all right. So I said, that's not what I want. I want to live with my husband. And I mean, I think an independent woman has the right to choose whether she wants to work, or whether she wants to take a break, or whatever. So I said, actually, I got this job right after my college, so I need a little time. Of course, my whole life is changing. I'm getting married. Marriage is a big deal. So, and especially a person who grew up in hostels, getting into a different family and whole different culture. Because Milind and I have nothing in common when it comes to families and culture, and everything is different. So I was like, it's a lot of transition. I'm going to need some time. So I took these 2 years. I have worked a lot on it. We both have, and we have actually seen each other with our families, and we have gotten used to our families. We are in love with our families now, and I think now is the time for me to take the step forward. Now I can move ahead. So these 2 years have been quite a journey. I have learned a lot
Yeah,
about
yeah.
myself that I never thought I would. And in fact, I remember telling Milind the very first date that, if you're looking for something serious, if you're looking for a marriage, this is not it. I don't want to get involved like that, and I don't want to get married ever. So, of course, that changed. And
It's
all of this
usually the
kind of,
opposite,
yeah. So I
right?
think,
It's usually the guys who are commitment phobic. It's usually the men who are commitment
right.
phobic, and it's usually the woman who's like, I want to get married.
Yes, yes. But I think now more and more women are, becoming like that. They are like, I want to be in this relationship, but I don't see a marriage here. And they're more confident about it, and they're just living their life as they want it. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I was probably also, I had that kind of thought process at that time. But then I saw that, this is something I would like, and then I told him, in fact, that I have changed my mind, and because of my sister's wedding, I saw how beautiful it is, and kind of made me all teary, and I was like, oh, this is what I want. And yeah, so all that changed, and I think these 2 years have been fantastic. And there are a lot of ongoing projects that I'm working on, so should be coming up soon.
Fantastic. So tell me, Ankita, like you are literally standing on crossroads right now, right? You've had like this journey.
Right.
You have, completely. You're just leading a very different life now, and you've kind of come to terms with
Right.
the transition that you've been through. What do you see as your life goal from here on? Like, I mean, of course, I mean, life goals, I feel, are also kind of very transitional, right? They're kind of like, at what point of
Absolutely.
your life are you standing at? But from where you are right
Yes.
now, what do you see as your life goal?
So right now, to be honest, I'm at the best place I have ever been, physically, mentally, spiritually, in every way. And I can see everything clearer, better. I'm sure as I grow older, I'll have better clarity. But I think things that I'm doing, everything has my interests. So it's all related to health, it's all related to nutrition. So these are the things that I would like to work with. And of course, about mental health, I have always been vocal about it. And of course, yeah, these are the things that I would like to work with. And that's where I see myself, even as I'm probably, 40s or 50s, and I can see myself doing something related to it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And, I mean, of course, they're like really areas which I think, are kind of, they have a direct impact on the lives of other people, right? So there's
Right,
also that
right,
aspect that you actually have the ability to help people when you do things like
right,
these, right? So
right,
that's the
right.
other aspect, which is, I think, hugely satisfying. So yeah, it's amazing. I was just
Absolutely,
curious
absolutely.
because you are literally like, in a position where you can make any choice that you want, and
I know,
the roads
I know.
are, all paths are available, right?
I know I can't tell you, Gauri, how scary this is because, at the same point, like I told you that this is the best place I have ever been, but also this is the most scariest I have ever been because, this is
Yeah,
where I decide where I want to be, what I want to be. And every decision I'm taking, I'm making, it's going to make myself make me that woman that I can see in the future. So I'm just, I see so many versions of myself. So that's
and
kind of
I think
scary,
that's
which
fine.
path
I
do
feel,
I take?
yeah,
But
yeah, that's what
as
I'm
a
saying. I
person,
think that's,
yeah, you're always evolving and you're learning. So I'm just always keeping the things open, keeping my roads open. But I'm heading on towards this one path that, I am really, really interested in, that has really intrigued me, that has really helped me, that has really made me see my life better and clearer. So I think that can help a lot of other people, and also that'll be quite satisfying for me. So yeah.
yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, because I think that's the whole thing. I think when you are in this position that you're in, where you have, everything just going right and you're free to make the choices that you want to make, I feel that also
Right,
comes with a huge responsibility, right?
right,
Because
right.
it's like everything really depends on you. It's no longer a matter of necessity or compulsion, and it's up to you to make it or break it, right? And that can
Absolutely,
sometimes be
absolutely.
intimidating. It
Yeah,
can
yeah,
be
of course.
intimidating to be in that position.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that we're on the same page and you understand.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm sure it'll go well. I think I had one of my friends actually, when I posted that I'm talking to you, she said she left a comment saying that, "Oh my God, this girl is so sorted." So I don't think you're going to have too much trouble finding your
How
path.
sweet.
You know, yeah, she
How
did. It's
sweet.
there on my Facebook page. You could actually go back and
Oh,
see
okay,
it.
I'll go and
She
check it out.
actually said, yeah, she actually left a note
I will,
saying,
I
"Oh,
will.
this girl is really, she has a head on her shoulders." So tell me, going back to running, Ankita, with everything that you're doing right now, what kind of a running regime do you actually
Right.
follow? Are you kind of like running every day? Are you, how many hours a week do you put in?
Um, so I run, yes, almost every day, unless I'm traveling and I could not manage. Um, uh, Otherwise, I always wake up around. I like to wake up early because it gives me like a whole day to, kind of a few extra hours, to be honest, to decide things and to do things and to spend with myself. And also I like to go to bed early because I don't know why.
Yeah.
Around 9:30, 10, I'm sleepy and I'm like being all cranky and I'm like, can I just go to sleep? So yeah, I'm not kind of a party person at all. So I go for a run around 6 and I run or 6:30 and I run as much as I feel like. I don't put my unless I'm training for a particular event. I don't put
Okay.
myself to that mental block, that, oh, you have to do 15 kilometers today or you have to do 20 kilometers today. No, I just, because running has been this amazing thing to me, that life changing, life altering thing. And so
Yeah.
I don't want running to be that something else, all of a sudden, that it feels like
Yet another
a
rat race.
mandatory. Yeah, right. And then mandatory thing that you have to do. So I just go out and run as long as I feel like. It could be just 7 kilometers, it could be 10 kilometers, it could be 15, it could be 20, it could be 30. So just depends on my mood that day and of course the time that I have in my hand. So if I have just a lazy day, then I just go out with my friend, and of course Shibani, and she's always up for like a long run. So whenever I feel like a long run, I just call her up and I say, "Hey, listen, can I come with you? Let's go for a long run." So yeah, it's quite fun that way. And
Yeah. So
I
it's
would say
kind of like a very flexible kind of, you have a very flexible
very,
running regime. It's very
very.
determined by how you really feel.
Yes, absolutely. I think it should be like that. You should train with your heart, with your mind, and not just according to your watches that you have right now. And everybody has one. So, or that, oh, I have to lose so many kgs, or I have to look a certain way, or be a certain way. I think it's just that you should let yourself have that liberty to make the decision what you feel like doing that day. If you feel like just walking, walk. If you just feel like going for a jog, go for a jog. If you feel like going for a fast run, go for a fast run. If you feel like going for a long run, go for a long run. Just give yourself that balance. You should have that balance. Shouldn't lose it on the way of becoming
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
also for me when I started to run, I was very
Right.
guided by my love for running. And actually, I remember there was a
Right.
time, or I think around 2000. So I started running in 2008 and actually went completely off running around 2012,
Right.
2013. And I feel that tipping point of going completely off running before it kind of started to come back again actually had to do with exactly what you're saying. I also think
Right.
like running means different things to different people, right?
Of
Some
course.
people are
Yes,
in it
yes,
because they're competitive, they're driven by
yes,
achieving, etc., etc. But I
right.
think there's a lot of people like us for whom
Yeah.
running is actually about cleansing your
Therapy.
mind and just like I used to always think that this is the one thing that I do which is just for joy, right?
Yes,
And now
yes,
by
yes,
adding goals and putting pressure on yourself,
yes.
it's becoming yet another rat race, right?
Right, right,
um,
right.
and the thing is that it kind of like I feel like it drives some people to have goals. They need the numbers, they
Of
need the
course.
timing, they
Yes,
need the podiums,
yes.
etc.
Of
But
course,
I
of
think it's
course.
important to recognize, are you that person,
Yes, yes. Very
right?
true.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I think everybody likes to see that, oh, they have achieved something and they have accomplished something new. In fact, for me also at times, when I see, like I told you, when I did 4:45 in Mumbai Marathon, I was so super thrilled. But to be very honest, I did not train for it like that. I really trained like a normal day, normal thing. I really enjoyed my run, even Mumbai Marathon, the whole run. I just enjoyed myself. I didn't have to push myself to say, oh, you know what, you have to finish it within like 4:30, no matter what, just go. Yeah, I just I'm that person, I think I like to take things slow and enjoy it rather than
enjoy it.
rushing
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
But then again,
Ankita,
there are so many people, yeah.
yes, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they have different
Yeah,
goals, right?
yeah,
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 they
yeah.
have
Like
different
you
goals
said,
and they
yes,
go with,
yes.
yeah, yeah. So I want to ask you, since you've mentioned, a few times on the show today that, you actually have a huge interest in nutrition and, in the recent past, you've kind of been following a lot and, studying
Right.
it a lot. Tell me, if we were to just say what would be, your top, 2, 3 nutritional learnings that you'd like to share with people who are following us today, what would you say are the 2 or 3 really important things that you've learned or that you follow?
Um, Eat when you're hungry. Don't eat by a certain time. I think that's something that from the beginning we have learned really wrong. That of course, because of a certain schedule that you have to follow, you have to also build your appetite around that. When you have school, when you're kids, so your parents tell you, okay, you have to eat at this time because you have to go to school at this time. So when you come back, you're hungry. I don't know whether you're hungry or not, but your mom will serve you that you have to eat it now because you're probably hungry. So I think rather than doing all of that, of course, as a kid, you don't know. But when you grow up, at least, you should take the time to realize when you're hungry and eat according to that. You know, um, this thing about appetite is like we just lose it as an adult. And we just eat and eat and eat, and we just don't care about what we are putting into our body. We are eating a lot of unhealthy things throughout the day.
Yeah.
Also having our lunch, our breakfast, our dinner according to the time that was set by our parents or probably a schedule. So we don't let the body feel hunger. We don't let it to realize that, okay, you know what, I'm hungry now, I need food, I need fuel now. You're just fueling yourself, you should understand that. So unless your body requires it, you shouldn't. That's one thing that I follow. There's another thing is that people say, you should drink water, drink water, drink water. Good if you're drinking water, it's good, but not too much water. That's also dangerous. I'm sure you know that. And I think you should drink when you're thirsty. You should feel the thirst. First of all, you need to have a balanced lifestyle to understand your body. Otherwise, you will never understand it. And to in fact realize when you're hungry, when you're thirsty, you have to give yourself that time to realize. If you keep
Yeah.
putting things in your mouth, of course there will be salt, and it'll make you thirsty, and you'll be drinking a lot of water, and your stomach will just bloat up. So you should, like I said, eat when you're hungry, drink when you're thirsty, and eat healthy, local, seasonal. That's one thing I follow. And I think anything that is local, anything that is seasonal is the healthiest thing that you can find in the market. And that's what you should consume, not the, I mean, things that you keep seeing. Quinoa, you should only eat quinoa and nothing else. No, I don't buy that.
Fag.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fag.
and then, just eat meat and don't eat any carbs. And I'm like, "Ugh, please, no, sorry."
Yeah. Yeah. Keto
Yeah.
diet, right? That's the keto diet.
Oh, God. That
Yeah.
was for autistic kids. You know that, no? Keto diet.
Oh, really? I
I
didn't know
think,
that.
yeah. I think it had to do something with the autism, and they kind of developed it according to that, and then it just grew to be this whole different thing about losing weight, and people just went crazy, overboard, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it has
I
really
see that.
changed everything.
Yeah, I see that you and Milind actually consume a lot of natural foods, and because you guys
Yes,
keep posting about what you're
right,
eating, and I think that's a good thing because I think it kind of also sort of inspires other people to do things
right,
that you guys. And I think this is the responsibility of being in a position of influence, right? That you actually have
right,
you set the example, right? So I see
right,
that both
right.
Milind and you actually follow a lot of natural food and natural
Yeah,
fruits and that kind of food, right?
right, right. I think you have
Yeah,
to allow your body to work, right? Like how you work for something, right? There's a goal. Your body has a goal. Your body knows what are the vitamins that you need, what kind of protein do you need? It realizes, come on, it's evolved for millions of years. It knows what it wants. You don't have to use your brain for that. Just let your body be in charge and do its thing. If it's not being able
Yeah.
to do it, then you seek help. Then you do something.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't see a person running 5 kilometers in the morning every day probably, and going for like big protein shakes and whatever. I
Yeah.
don't see the
Yeah.
point in
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Supplements and all of that.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
yeah.
true. I
Let
mean,
your
if you're
body
just
work.
true to you. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ankita, we are at about 55 minutes into the show. It's time for me to get moving to my rapid fire. I've actually, so enjoyed listening to you that I almost didn't
Thank
realize that
you.
it's almost an hour. I've had such a great
Yeah,
time just talking to you,
me
and
too.
yeah, we should continue this, offline as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you know what my rapid fire is like? My rapid fire is without a hamper. You literally have, 5 seconds to kind of answer back. By the way, Milind's
Okay.
answer is my all-time favorite. And every time I have guests on this show, I always tell them that, if you can't beat Milind's answer anyway, you can't get a hamper. Okay. Uh, but I've been a
Okay.
bit decent with you. I mean, I can take certain liberties with Milind, which I'm not going to take with you, uh, because
How
I know him for much
sweet.
longer. So I've kept a very decent rapid fire, but I need the answers quickly, okay?
All right.
So
All right.
my first question is, which is the first international marathon on your bucket list after the lockdown lifts? I mean, if after the flights resume.
Berlin.
First, oh, okay. This is like going back to history recreating itself.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. What are your last long run plans for 2020? I know that you and Milind do, a run around New Year's Day, and it's called the last long run.
Right.
So I want to know what's your last long run plan for 2020.
Guwahati to Cherrapunji.
Oh,
It's 140
fantastic.
kilometers.
Hometown.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's funny
Yes.
because my next question is related to Guwahati. What's the one thing that Guwahati has that Mumbai does not?
My mother.
That's a smart one. Um, how much time do you devote to social media management every day?
That's tricky. That's probably at least 2.5 hours to 3 hours.
Wow, that's a
I
lot.
should reduce it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I know, it's a lot.
Yeah, but the thing is also,
Three platforms.
so you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, and what's the third platform?
And Twitter.
And Twitter. Okay, right. I mean, they're very different platforms as well. So you need to kind of keep up with the game, right? Okay, and my last question to you is,
right.
What about Milind annoys the daylights out of you?
Oh my God, he's okay, wait. There are too many. Wait. I'm trying to choose the one that annoys the most.
That's politically correct. This is very bad, Ankita. You're faring very poorly on the show.
Wait.
What is the answer?
I'm trying to think. I think it's unpredictability. His unpredictability.
Okay, that's not a very good answer. I'm very sorry to tell you that you don't win the hamper, if there was ever a hamper.
Oh, so sad.
But I'm very pleased to tell you that the hamper winning answer is still your husband's. So it's all going to be coming to the same house if I ever give out a hamper. But it's been great chatting with you. It's been great chatting with you, Ankita. So enjoyed my time.
Me too. Absolutely. Enjoy.
Thank you so much
Totally.
for finding the time. Have a good race tomorrow. Enjoy the Darjeeling
Thank you.
Marathon.
Thank you. And you know
Okay, and
whom I'm going to call for Berlin. So yeah.
yeah, absolutely. You are most welcome. Thank you, Ankita, and good night, everybody. Thank
Yeah.
you for joining us today. Bye.
Good night, everyone. Thank you. Bye.